Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you have enjoyed your Madaraka Day wherever you are in the Republic of Kenya. For my case, I was following the events as they unfolded from Raila Odinga Stadium, Homa Bay from Nairobi. And I think it was such wonderful. Probably there is some shifting of ground in the Ruo Nyanza region, but that will be the topic for another day. For today, I will want to continue with what we have been discussing the last 3 days live, and I will focus on whether Fred Okengo Matiang'i can be ignored in the 2027 general election. Can the other opposition principals ignore Fred Okengo Matiang'i merely because of some reasons which I'll mention as we proceed? But before we go further, I'll request whoever comes across this video to subscribe so that whenever we produce another video, YouTube will automatically notify him. In this video, we explain why politicians are behaving in a given manner. It can be good or a negative, in a negative manner. So if you come across this channel, just subscribe, like our videos, share, and I'll not forget to thank those who have always been supportive of this channel, and that's why it is where it has reached. Back to our discussion. The other day, the first day during our live event, we had to look at regarding Gachagua. Yesterday we examined Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and today I'll majorly focus on one Fred Okengo Matiang'i, just as we continue daily for the rest of this month with various presidential contenders. And my one question today is, can Fred Okengo Matiang'i be ignored? Can he be ignored as a presidential candidate? Is he a man who can make it? Can he be given hand by Rigathi Gachagua, Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, Martha Karua, and other opposition figures? Time will tell. But who is Fred Okengo Matiang'i? Who is Fred Okengo Matiang'i? Fred Okengo Matiang'i is an educationist. First degree is from Kenyatta University, while his master's in English and PhD in comparative literature is from the University of Nairobi. Fred Okengo Matiang'i has been a teacher or a lecturer in both Egerton University and Nairobi University. In these institutions, he was able to come across or to implement World Bank programs, USAID, and he was working with the Commonwealth parliamentary programs. There are some issues with the system, and I wonder why. So this strong background, both academic and the experience as a young person, is what has brought him to where he is today. In 2013, Fred Okengo Matiang'i, who was the personal assistant to the former late Simeon Nyajae, was handed to Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and he was appointed as a minister for information and technology. In 2015, he became the minister for education, while in 2018, after the death of Ngaiseri, became the minister for interior security. While the current president was tangling all over the Republic of Kenya through an executive order, Fred Okengo Matiang'i was given the powers to chair cabinet meetings as well as to implement or to coordinate government projects. So that is the brief story of Fred Okengo Matiang'i. Now, my question is, do you think a man who has been able to work with the World Bank, actually today is working with the World Bank as we speak today, will be ready to step down for the rest? Because even him, he will say that I have the support of the people. Do you think a man who has got the support of the Gen Zs will be ready to back another person? That's why in my description I'm saying these opposition leaders need to go to Vatican and run from them and ask, how did you arrive at this Pope, so that even us, we can use that knowledge to come up with one presidential candidate. So this is the topic, and you are now allowed to drop your comments, what you feel. Is Fred Okengo Matiang'i going to accept to support others? As we speak, Fred Okengo Matiang'i is having serious meetings in the United States with Kenyans in the diaspora. Of course, with one major aim: to give both moral and financial support. So I'm asking this question: do you think Fred Okengo Matiang'i will step down for either Rigathi Gachagua, Martha Karua, Eugene Wamalwa, or Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka? By some of his partners, friends. I'm not sure what's happening today with the network. Okay, so when he went to Amnyoro, he was also given the support that one will need to be given when probably is contesting for the presidential position. I can see courage, probably you could post where you are giving your, where you are dropping your comments from. I can see you are in for Matiang'i will be given the flag bearer. It's just a matter of time. They will all settle on Matiang'i. Those are your opinions, Village, and thank you for your comment. And probably if you have not subscribed, subscribe so that you will continue making or receiving this news. According to Village, it is a matter of time that Fred Okengo Matiang'i will be declared the sole candidate, the sole presidential opposition candidate. Just a brief history again. Fred Okengo Matiang'i can be credited for coming up with policy reforms in the Ministry of Education to curb leakage and to bring back sanity in that sector of examinations. So Fred Okengo Matiang'i came up with policies. Through those policies, examination results were able to be released or were released in the shortest time possible. They were actually released within the shortest time possible. And actually, you remember the last KCSE results, people were wondering. They waited until, I think, January, sometimes in January, and this had been a thing of the past during the Matiang'i's regime. So one can say that if Fred Okengo Matiang'i takes up leadership, he will be able to deal with the mess within the Ministry of Education. Fred Okengo Matiang'i was a lecturer at Egerton University, and there is arguments that it is one of the universities that have been greatly affected financially. That means Okengo Matiang'i understands the problem that is taking place within the Kenyan universities. But what is your take? Drop your comment. Tell us what you think. Will Matiang'i agree others to be flag bearers? Thank you. I can see courage from Kajiado Central, and for courage, he feels that it is a matter of time before Fred Okengo Matiang'i is declared a winner. And if you say courage and anyone else is watching, what is your lineup? If, for example, Fred Okengo Matiang'i is the presidential candidate, how will you distribute the other positions? If he's not the presidential candidate, who will be the presidential candidate from this opposition side? Just distribute the positions so that we can have to see what is the feeling on the ground. But as you come in, you are allowed to keep on subscribing, like our videos, like this one and those others that are already within the album. You can see again, Garage, thank you so much. River on the mess at the Ministry of Education. Matiang'i will completely clear the corruption in this country. And again, during the Gen Z's demonstrations last year in June, one of the major issue was, or that they proposed to the government of Kenya to look at, is corruption. Will Fred Okengo Matiang'i deal with the issue of corruption once for all? I've said earlier on that is a man who is a reformist. He did wonderful work in the Ministry of Education. Actually, in the Uhuru Kenyatta's government, he was referred to Mr. Fix-It. He was a man who was determined to arrive at what he needs ought to be done. He is man, he has got deceitful leadership qualities. But if the panel says that Okengo Matiang'i, it is not your turn, will the man agree to support the list of the members of the public? That is my question. Kindly, if you have an answer for that, drop your comment there so that we can discuss it. If you have a question, drop it there so that we can have an engagement with the members of the public. And that's the reason as why I'm online, so that we can engage one another in this online platform. So if you have any question, drop it there. If you have not subscribed, kindly subscribe so that whenever we produce another video, YouTube will notify you. And here we will be discussing freely. We will discuss various leaders. The other day we were discussing regarding Gachagua. Yesterday we were on Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Today is Fred Okengo Matiang'i. We are also likely to look at the government and its promises. We see whether they will whether the government of the Republic of Kenya, led by William Samoei Ruto, has fulfilled the promises. We will also define what we think. We will also define what we think bottom-up means, because in most cases they have been defining bottom-up as giving resources. Like now, today in Homa Bay, there is a few people who are given those mortgaged houses or rooms, and then because they were Mama Mboga, people from the security sector, border, then they said, or it was purported to be bottom-up. What actually is this bottom-up? Where does bottom-up begin from? So when we will be looking at these other leaders, we will deal each case as that person appears or behaves. We shall be focusing his policies. Uh, Kelech is also asking that how can Gachagua be picked while he was impeached? Kindly let us know. Okay. According to what I know is that despite the fact that Gachagua was impeached, there is still petitions, there are cases challenging his impeachment. And once we have such cases, it means that they can he can go ahead and even be a presidential candidate. Remember when we had the 2013 12 elections, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and William Samoei Ruto had cases at Hague, Netherlands, that is ICC. But because the case had not been conclusive, they were allowed to contest. Therefore, if one can argue from that background, then Rigathi Gachagua can contest because he is still exhausting the other constitutional means. Kelech also goes ahead and says that Matiang'i has a proven track record and 90% of the Kenyans have faith in him. That Matiang'i has a proven track record and 90% of the Kenyans have faith in him. So those are your opinions, Kelech, and kindly, if you are joining us now, you can as well drop your comment. Today we are focusing on Fred Okengo Matiang'i, and our main question today: can Fred Okengo be ignored? Can you say that Fred Okengo Matiang'i is from a smaller community with the probably 2 million registered voters, at least is being speculated, and therefore there is no need of focusing on him? So what is your take? Where is Matiang'i's people? Where is Kalonzo's people to give their comments here? Where is Wamarwa and Gachagua's people? What is their take? Whom do you think is suitable for this position come 2027? Fred Okengo Matiang'i has also been known in policy reforms within the interior sector. If today you go to northeastern, some of the northeastern parts, you will hear them say that we have peace because Matiang'i did this for us. So he's a man who, whenever he has been given an opportunity in various sectors, he ensures that he makes decisive leadership. But what I'm asking, my question kindly, can this man be ignored? Can he also allow others to contest. So those are my questions. Can he allow other individuals to contest? Fred Okengo Matiang'i is a philosopher in comparative literature from the University of Nairobi. He is an educationist. He is an implementer, and that's why he's working in World Bank. But the big question is, if Fred Okengo Matiang'i is given this opportunity to rule the Republic of Kenya, will he be able to streamline the various sectors that have collapsed, including the sector of education? Will Fred Okengo Matiang'i fight corruption? What is his take on health, agriculture, and employment? What is Fred Okengo's take on agriculture and employment? Because one of the major problems among the youth today is unemployment. What step will Fred Okengo Matiang'i take to ensure that the young people access employment in the Republic of Kenya? During their tenure with the former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the young people had some vijana na kazi. They had some jobs that they used to do, which were abolished with the entrance of William Samoei Ruto. Close to 3 years, William Ruto has introduced empowerment programs whereby there is the dishing of money by his close allies to youth groups, actually without formal structures. Joaquim Kimoja Matiang'i is the man to watch. So Joaquim Kimoja, can Matiang'i be ignored? Can Matiang'i be ignored? Yes, Joaquim, just drop your can he be ignored? Let's say these other opposition candidates decide that now let's ignore Fred Okengo Matiang'i and have a chat in our own way. Can he be ignored? And why? Of course, I'll give my honest opinion towards the end of this discussion. But for now, it is your time to give your views so that our family, our community can see reactions from you people. It has also been argued that Fred Okengo Matiang'i is being fronted by the former president Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. This means if they will not agree on one presidential candidate, there will be trouble in the mountain. because you cannot just underrate the former President of the Republic of Kenya. First, having proved, initially when he did propose Raila Odinga, the mountain did not listen to him. But today, they feel that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was lied by telling them not to vote for William Samoei Ruto. So, what do you think? If Matiang'i parts away, to my honest opinion, that will be one of the implications. Wamnyoro will have his team and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta will have his team. But currently, we have Saitoti in the Gashagua's team, who is taking care of the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And Muigai is clear. Uhuru Muigai is very clear. And I remember he said it by himself that there is no need of you people uniting at this time. Work with your political parties, and if there's need for unity, this should be done at the 11th hour. So those are the words of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. No, he did not send anyone, but he said, political parties, work first, mobilize your people, and then at one time come together and choose one presidential candidate. So, Courage, Matiang'i, Joachim, what are your feelings? Just drop your comments. Drop your comments. What are your feelings if Fred Okengo Matiang'i can be ignored? The position is one. Presidential flag bearer from these individuals must be one. If they are one team, it cannot be Gachagua and any other person. If it is Gachagua, he has to be Gachagua, and the rest will move to various positions. If it is Kalonzo, it's the same. If it is Eugene, if it is Natembeya, it's the same. But when we talk of these individuals, is there any individual who can be ignored? The other day you saw what Natembeya has. He has a following. If you ignore him, he may go it alone. And by that, the incumbent will have easy time to defeat the opposition with some good margins. This happened in 2002 when there was disagreement among the opposition. This one man, Simeon Nyachai, left the opposition, and he had to go with some votes that could have filled the opposition to the brim, such that the then incumbent government will have nothing to say. 2007, The same case happened. Kalonzo was not happy. He went it alone. And the Kalonzo votes made the two teams to nearly have equal number of votes. What if Kalonzo could have taken a side? It means one of the sides would have made it wonderfully. Kellett says that when Matiang'i comes back and start moving around the country holding rallies, that will be that will be see it. That is when they will see his potential. Look at when Matiang'i had a rally in Kisii, and earlier this month, Jacqueline Nduta, Matiang'i apewe internal security. Hiyo ndio ako sawa. For Nduta feels that if Fred Okengo Matiang'i can be given the position of internal security, Jacqueline will be more safer, or Kenyans will be very safe. Jacqueline, you can also draw your lineup. Would you want to be what, and come up with a full government? Do you want to be president, deputy, cabinet secretary, speaker? Because already you have assigned Fred Okengo Matiang'i the Ministry of Internal Security. That's great. How do you distribute these other positions? Whom do you think can be at the top? Just give your comment freely. There is no intimidation here. We are just providing an ideal government. What we think ought to be. So when you give us your idea, it does not mean that you have interfered with anyone else. That's what you think. If this could have happened, then just like the manner in which President William Ruto defines bottom up. For him, when he sees that there is a construction of houses everywhere, that is bottom up. And we cannot blame him for that. That is his belief, and he believes so. And even if you elect him 10 times, he'll just be believing in the same manner. And there is also those people who believe that Matiang'i worked as a coordinator in the various ministries, the likes of Kioni, and that's why he should be at the top. But I'm requesting, if possible, you tell us what happens if Fred Okengo Matiang'i is ignored by these other leaders. If they ignore him, what will happen will he have any impact? Yes. Will he have any impact? I think I'll make two observations or three in relation to Fred Okengo Matiang'i. If Fred Okengo Matiang'i is ignored by his core principles, it is likely to bring sharp divisions, because he has got a large following from his home turf. The Gen Zs are with him. The former president is with him. So it will be like a spoiling effect. And this will or can work against them in trying to achieve the best of the results, in trying to achieve their political office, what they need. So I'm very grateful for those who have taken their time to give their comments. Johakim, Kimoja, Kerech, and Jacqueline Nduta. Be present and have happy Madaraka Day celebrations holiday. Thank you. Rotiño, let the views.